huge air, bone-jarring landings, backflips off a dirt ramp. You might think the fellow bike gladiators might enable them flatliners instead of flatlanders. Wrong. Jumpers and street riders have total respect for the technical artists of Flatland.
And their repertoire consists of thousands of possible trick combinations. The judges look for originality, style, consistency, and flow. Now, touching the ground with a hand or a foot means deductions, but how much depends on how difficult the trick attempted was. Jack Edwards explains.
In which direction does the explorer go? Outward to the big stuff, the stars and beyond, or inward to molecules, atoms, neutrons, quarks? Each search is infinite. Speed and air equal glory at the X Games, but there is a prize for those who explore in the other direction as well. Flatlanders are the type of guys who discover the double helix. In a world hell-bent on speed, they see how slowly they can perform some of their tricks. It is speed that makes the gyroscope balance itself. It is the additional ability to work a slow-moving wheel or even an unmoving one that draws attention to Flatland. Trevor Meyer is an explorer extraordinaire. This is his vehicle.
This bike weighs about 35 to 40 pounds. It's heavier than the BMX bikes just because the tubing's a lot thicker, so it's stronger than a BMX bike. And you know, you have the pegs to stand on the front and back. The frame has this platform to push off for decade-style tricks. You have a SST, a ridge detangler device there, which allows you to spin the handlebars around without the brake cables getting tangled up. You don't have to spin it back again. And you got 990 die-count brakes on the front. It's worked really good. And they're out of the way in the back here, so that way you got room to scuff without hitting the brake. I run a small sprocket, a 39 tooth, so it's out of the way. When I'm like upside down like this, I got a little more room. And a real low profile tire, I run the ACS True tires. And these tires rule, you can put 100 pounds of air pressure in them, so you spin really fast.
You want a Flatlander to take you for a quick spin? This is Dave Smith. Flatlander's performances are as individual as fingerprints. Smith tries to leave an original mark on every competition he touches.
Everybody's own style can be different, and then you have riders that kind of look like other riders. They don't mean to do it, you know what I mean? It's just there's a certain style that they like, and that's what they want to do, you know? But with me, I like to look different.
Each competitor gets 3 minutes to link his tricks, show his originality, and play to his inner strengths. While some events at the X Games are fireworks displays, this is a day at the art gallery, soaking in the precision of Canadian Andrew Ferris, the inventiveness of Nate Hansen, the enthusiasm of Sean Peters.
I think it's a big stepping stone for the sport because, like you said, people have never seen Flatland. This may be the first time they've ever seen it, and hopefully they like it a lot. Hopefully the sport will grow big.
If this is the groundswell, Trevor Meyer is just ahead of the breaking wave. He connects his tricks as no other rider does. What makes him different, of course, is what is inside.
I guess when I'm at home practicing, I practice the same trick over and over and over for hours and weeks, you know, to get it just dialed. And a lot of guys don't like spending that much time on one trick and they'll go on to something else. But I'm not happy unless it's fully dialed, and, you know, that's just the way I am.
All eyes are on Trevor Meyer as Flatland takes its turn, and a fascinatingly slow one at that.
Trevor Meyer, kind of the Richie Cunningham of the bike street crat. Again, at first glance, it doesn't appear to be a big, dynamic, crowd-pleasing event, but some of the folks packing the street course got kind of a sneak peek at the Flatlanders. They were going crazy, the enthusiasm just building as the routines unfolded.
And many of the riders, like Dave Smith, compete listening to music on their Walkmans. They choreograph their moves to music.
It also helps block out the noise of the fans.
So
Coming
focused.
up, we will hang out with...
Flatland riders don't do airs, but get applause with 2 or 3 minute sets crammed with scuffs and spins. And these riders do travel across their entire bike. Balance is astounding, maintaining it by juggling the bike in gravity. When in harmony, the angles are awesome. But the dance takes dedication. Hours of tedious practice, getting the bike, the brakes, and the tricks in sync. Jack Edwards tells the story of the sport and an athlete possessed by perfection.
The uninitiated look at a bike and see two round things. The Flatlander looks at a bike and sees the wheels, sure, but he also sees that a cross-section of a tire is round, allowing a horizontal roll, and that what works on the front tire also will work with the back, and that he can spin the frame around, and that he can spin himself around the frame, around and around and around, all resting on an area of rubber about 1 inch square. In the preliminary round, each of 23 riders gets 3 minutes. Dave Smith begins his routine. Smith had gone touchless at the X Trials in Orlando, loading pressure onto favorite Trevor Meyer, and he starts strongly. Meyer can't bear to watch. While all of Smith's other Flatland colleagues congregate in front of the ramps, Meyer is behind. Smith qualifies for the 10-man finals. Nate Hansen begins his spin. Meyer is a bucket of nerves. Hansen is into the finals. 18-year-old newcomer Nathan Panonzik takes to the street. Panonzik qualifies. Meyer remains in self-imposed solitary confinement. After just a few peeks interspersed between autographs for the previous hour and a half, Trevor Meyer gets his go-round. Where all other routines are series of circles and segmented, separate tricks which open and close, Meyer links trick through trick, a skein of Mobius strips dissolving one into another, a continuum of originality born between a TV set and a couch during frozen Minnesota winters.
From this, I flip the bars to a funky chicken, it's called. And from that, I go to a backwards scuffing funky chicken, something that I made up in my living room.
He says he practiced in his basement until he got good enough not to break coffee tables. His mind seeks difficult moves which on their own would impress, but which, in the cycle of his routine, lift him into an elliptical orbit well above the rest. He launches into a series of tricks in which he regulates his speed only with balance and body position. No brakes.
Flip the frame around into elephant spins, still with no brakes. Right here is a new original trick I just came across. Boom, right there to cross-footed K-squeaks.
The obscure names blur one into another, but his brilliance is clear, even to the uninitiated. The top qualifying spot sewn up and just seconds remaining. The rider who couldn't bear to watch the others lets fly with something from another realm.
Okay, this next trick here is called a bike flip. I came across it after watching skateboarders do a kick flip on a skateboard. It's a very difficult trick right there. You have to catch the peg with your right hand. So yeah, I was very stoked with that routine. Well, I'm looking forward to the finals.
His moves, and sure, people ask him, what are you doing? And he says, quote, just doing my job. Not a bad gig.
It's better than working a normal full-time job, doing what you like to do. 4 years ago where, you know, I wasn't sponsored, and, you know, it was just like I wasn't making any money off of it, or, you know, I didn't see it really progressing too far. I was thinking about either just getting a job as either painting houses or you know, doing construction or something like that. But you know, these last couple of years, things have just, you know, gone big time. So things couldn't be better. I got involved with the freestyle part of it when I was about 12 years old, and you know, I stuck with Flatland all the way up to where I'm 25 now. Yeah, I've been the #1 Flatland overall rider for the past 3 years, 94, 95, and 96. And I'm working on 97. I'm just fully concentrating, you know. I'm just wanting to pull the next trick. You know, my brain's thinking ahead. What am I going to do next? What brake lever to pull in? You know, it just, That's all that I'm thinking about. Yeah, well, I'm one of the few that haven't went out and dyed my hair or got any earrings or tattoos or anything. I'm just, I don't know, maybe I'm original, just being like this.
Meyer's also superstitious. He does not watch his fellow Flatlanders prior to his routine, but when he performs, you can bet all eyes are on him. You'll see his magic next on the X Games.
There is a place in everyone's inner child imagination of golden days and wondrous works. Between the hills of San Diego and the soft swells of the Pacific, this is the Flatland in the street stadium at the X Games. Born in driveways and on playgrounds, this freestyle expressionism gladly lets the world fly by. A Flatlander's way to play is not to go more burly than his fellow competitors, but rather to take more subtle chances. There is a line past which gravity owns all. Each Flatlander's effort is a singular serendipitous soliloquy, a dance which hotfoots over that line, daring to sizzle and hoping not to crash and burn. The 10 best in the world compete in the Flatland finals. Each one gets a 3-minute run. Unblinking eyes focus on 18-year-old Canadian Nathan Panonzik.
This young man is very smooth. He makes his tricks look easy. At such a young age, Jack, it's amazing how far he has come so quickly.
The balance point is so fine.
He's a natural rider, and that means he learns his tricks with ease. It doesn't take him a long time to do it. Scuffing on his back tire back with his left foot and now with his right foot. Nathan is putting together a great run.
Nathan Panonzik. Huntington Beach, California's Nate Hansen. Is he the straw that stirs the drink in Flatland?
Nate Hansen is as good at street invert sometimes as he is on the street course here in Flatland, because he is 6'4". He rides on the nose right now, switching back and forth. He's a super technical rider, leaving plenty of room, Jack, for him to fall.
So clean by Hansen.
The word that you can associate with Nate Hansen is that he's consistent, time and time again.
Crank it up. Canada's Andrew Ferris wheels, listening to the face-to-face tune Big Choice, which he does every single run.
He's a very original rider, pulling his tricks clean and fast. Great bike control, and he does difficult tricks.
Going for a lot of hard stuff.
Super smooth rider. Riding on the nose.
Yeah. A rare fall.
But difficult tricks, Jack. He's doing difficult tricks, and the judges knew that. He's great at spinning maneuvers. No room for error here. Andrew Ferris with a solid run.
Time for Trevor Meyer, virtually unbeatable over the last 3 years.
Trevor Meyer rides with his handlebars about 1.5 inches higher than the rest of the riders. He does that because he's tall, and that enables him not to stoop down so much.
Trevor Meyer is on a different level. He connects almost all of his tricks, and he has yet even to touch a foot down on the asphalt at the X Games.
And that is key. Scuffing forward and backwards is what Trevor is known about, and there he goes backwards. He told me he learned that in his living room. He cleared out the furniture in his living room, and he went to the wall, and he had no place to go, so he said, I'm going to go backwards. And that's how he learned the trick. Double decade! Trevor Meyer spinning around the bike, he and his handlebars at the same time.
25 years old, 6'2", 180 pounds.
Oh, man, he barely hung on. Jack in his seat is tweaked a little bit sideways right there. He'll grab onto that thing from time to time.
But he leaves himself a place to go.
Check this out.
He's an innovator of a many. Oh, look at that switch coming back around.
Look at that. It's a switch footed.
He's able to switch his foot and his feet on the pegs, going from right to left and left to right.
Meyer performed in about 50 NBA halftime shows in this just completed season, including twice at the NBA Finals.
The key thing to look at it is right foot and his left foot switching. It happens oh so subtly, controlling the bike with his left hand on the front peg. And
again, leaving himself a place to go when the step over the handlebars didn't work.
And it's okay to pause here, as long as you don't touch down. Touching down means putting your foot on the pavement. Trevor is classic at whipping his bike around, and this is the part that he always does it.
Everybody is watching. That's the ultimate sign of respect from one's peers.
His qualifying run was flawless. He had one sketchy moment in this run, but Jack, if he doesn't touch, he should get a high score.
It's an aesthetic performance. It's something that we don't see in terms of artistry from any other rider, at least we haven't here at the X Games.
He'll practice the trick for hours and hours. He has more patience than any other rider. The difficulty factor here for Trevor hasn't been as high as some of the other riders, but what he has done is he's been able to link trick after trick in great combinations.
Trevor Meyer. Glaring into the setting sun, dazzled by the starlight, this crowd produced an uncommon sound at these X Games. Not the fire-throated roar of being suddenly thrilled, but the rolling, rising applause of awestruck, appreciative warmth. Occasional smiles bubbled to the surface of Trevor Meyer's face, only to submerge again, washed under by concentration. His continuation of that dance with his mechanical partner, stepping over gravity's unyielding line and back, and playfully making it every time. In everyone's inner child imagination, there is that notion of a place of golden days and wondrous works. For 3 minutes at the X Games, Trevor Meyer took all of us there.
Thank you, Jack Edwards. So it's Trevor Meyer, the national king of Flatland for 3 years in competition, takes the gold medal. Nate Hansen takes the silver on a borrowed bike after his bike was stolen from outside his hotel. If you borrowed Nate's bike, please return it. Andrew Ferris of Canada takes the bronze. But it's Meyer living up to his nickname as the unstoppable Flatland robot. Meyer began his riding career on a pink GT freestyle bike. Now he's golden.